What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be taking a look at a few people who have placed comments in the comment section, some in my videos, some of them under posts that I've made in different social media forums or whatnot. And some of them aren't bad. Some of them seem to be very honest opinions, but personally I find them to be very interesting, and I'm gonna give my take on them. Some of them, of course, are responses and comments from people who just hate Starfield for some reason. They feel compelled, even though they don't like the game, to come into the comment sections of videos and join different Starfield groups to comment on different posts and all of that. So they're actually, I guess you could say that they're actually stalking the game in a way. And so, yeah, we're going to take a look at some of those as well. So we're not going to waste a whole lot of time. We're just going to go ahead and get right into it. Now, this first comment that I'm going to read, my response to it is going to be a little long-winded, and here's why. It's something you hear all the time. And normally when I hear it, I don't respond to it at all. But I've heard it so much, especially for some reason lately. It's like they were saying it a while back. They stopped saying it because they realized that it wasn't true. And now recently I've noticed that this particular comment or outlook on the game has returned to the social media discussion regarding, surrounding Starfield. And so I just got a little long-winded, not only answering this particular person, but I really felt like I was answering all the people that I've heard this from that I've just kind of ignored. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at it. I think the biggest problem I have with Starfield is the fact that it is also a victim of deceptive marketing. They did literally sell it as Skyrim in space, and it never got even close to being that entertaining or that interesting or that dense. Even the hub worlds feel completely empty. I'm not going to be one of those who argues that Cyberpunk didn't or doesn't have its issues, but Starfield never became the game that they promised. Starfield is the reason that I'm not going to be buying games until I see heavy reviews of it anymore. Now, I'll say this, I've always said, and I've said it on previous videos, I don't believe in buying video games. I don't believe in like pre-ordering or anything like that until my preference is gameplay. I want to see gameplay. I know some people don't like that. They don't want to see spoilers or anything like that. But to me, that's the best way to tell whether or not you will like a game, me personally. That's just the way I've done it. I've done it for years, and I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the last time. It's been many, many years since I purchased the game, got it home, started playing it, or these days you don't have to take it home anymore. You can buy it right online and start playing immediately. But I pretty much know what I'm getting into when I purchase a game now. So reviews, man, I mean, there are games that, I can't call off any now, but there are games that got bad reviews that actually turned out that when it came to the players, they actually enjoyed the game. So, I mean, and I've actually played games that didn't get reviewed too well, but then I watched some gameplay and I was like, wow, that doesn't look too bad. And I actually enjoyed them. So, but anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get into the response that I wrote here. And I got a little bit into the weeds, so please forgive me. Starfield clearly carries a lot of Skyrim's DNA, but it isn't trying to be Skyrim in space, and exploration is the biggest reason why. In Skyrim, Bethesda famously designed the world around the 15-second rule. No matter which direction you walked, you'd stumble into something within seconds. A cave, a bandit camp, a shrine, a random encounter, or a point of interest pulling you off the road. Exploration was dense, constant, and almost claustrophobic in how often it demanded your attention. Starfield doesn't work like that, and it's intentional. Starfield shares Skyrim's spirit, but not its structure. The core elements are familiar, but the pacing and philosophy of exploration are fundamentally different. Expecting the 15-second rule to apply in a universe measured in light years misses what Starfield is actually trying to do. Skyrim takes place on one planet, while Starfield takes place in the stars. But you can still see familiar Bethesda elements everywhere: environmental storytelling, factions layered with lore, side quests hidden behind casual conversations, and that same sense of freedom to ignore the main quest for dozens of hours. The RPG system, dialogue structure, and find a story where you didn't expect one philosophy all feel very much in line with Skyrim. But Starfield trades Skyrim's tightly packed overworld for scale and isolation. Exploration isn't about tripping over content every few seconds. It's about distance, atmosphere, and choosing where to go next. Sometimes you won't find something immediately because space and the planets within it are meant to feel vast, quiet, and occasionally empty. The emptiness is a part of the tone, not a failure in design. Now, that wasn't the entire comment, but what I did, I plucked out the most important parts of the comment that I made to the guy. It was like a couple of extra paragraphs in it, but I decided, I didn't need to read the whole thing here as I was reading it. I just said, that this is kind of long. So to be honest with you, when I was writing it, I didn't even realize that I was writing for that long. I just had so much to say. And I heard that comment so much, man. I was like, wow, some people just really must believe this. Now, the thing you got to consider is this. This guy is probably giving his honest feeling. And here's what it comes down to. And this is the mistake that Todd Howard made. When he said Skyrim in space, he should have given more of an explanation. Now, they did use the word vastness also a lot. So maybe he probably figured, look, this is space, and they were talking about barren planets and all of that. So maybe he thought, hey, look, people are going to know what this is. We're explaining enough. But you say Skyrim in space, you have to consider, okay, what is it about Skyrim that some gamers like the most? Like, some gamers may have liked that 15-second rule, the fact that it was packed. Now, they did say things to let you know that there was going to be a lot of areas that was going to be what we describe as barren, right? But to be honest with you, anybody who played the game knows that most of the planets, there are actually very few truly barren planets in Starfield. Now, like I said, it's not content packed, but there are very few planets that you can go on where there's not a little something going on. And like I said to this guy, many times you'll be around, you don't see anything, it looks barren, and the next thing you know, you're running into somebody who's out there just like you. You look in the distance, you see a ship landing, you hear them, break the atmosphere, you hear you're like, oh shit, and you're looking around like, okay, where are they gonna land and who are they? So that's Skyrim in space. It has many elements of Skyrim, but it doesn't have every element of Skyrim. And those elements that it doesn't have that's like Skyrim, some people probably just wanted it to have those elements because those probably were the elements. Like, you look at this gentleman right here. Obviously, he used the word dense. He wanted it to be dense. He wanted to run into something about every 15, at least 20 seconds, like in Skyrim. But they also let you know that that's not how it was going to be. Now, there are some, like if the new DLC, it gives you that. That was something I noticed right away. That's the reason why I heard people complaining about the DLC, and I'm like, okay, actually, to be perfectly honest with you, I think this is a little bit too dense to me. But people were still complaining, they were acting like there was nothing to do, and they would, all of the locations were different. There were no copy and paste locations. It was beautiful. I thought that the culture of the runes were very, very interesting. I didn't get it, and I'm sitting up here like, wow, look at this. That was actually the one thing that I really didn't like, was how dense it was, or is, because you can go back to that planet anytime you want. But I get it, man. Look, if that's what you liked about Skyrim, and if that is what you were expecting from Starfield, I get it. But at the same time, if you go back and look at a lot of the things that they were saying, they didn't lie to you. They did basically describe exactly what we're getting. Now, the whole Skyrim in space thing, he should have known that many people probably could take that in different ways. And I don't know, I'm trying to look at things through Todd Howard, through the lens of Todd Howard, and maybe he just thought, look, we explained enough. And obviously they did, because Starfield is everything that I expected it to be. Anyway, we move on. So this guy says, I think it's laughable that New Atlantis can't be what Night City is, you know, an actual city, not whatever the fuck New Atlantis is. So I responded by saying, it's great, but it exists on one planet. In many of the places that's not tied to stories, you can't even enter. Don't get me wrong, I love traversing the city and the map, but I'm also aware that a lot of what I'm seeing is an illusion that makes it look larger and more fascinating than it really is. And if you play Cyberpunk, you know that that's true. Now, don't get me wrong, it's nice. I love Cyberpunk. I was playing Cyberpunk last night. Matter of fact, I ended up playing about 3 games last night. I was up a lot later than I wanted to stay up. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just true. A lot of the places you can't even go into. In fact, there are some people who make videos that their channel specializes, or rather I don't want to say their channel specializes in it, but they make a lot of videos showing themselves going into buildings, somehow getting into buildings that you can't even enter, but they enter them and show people what's inside of those buildings. So really, the city in Cyberpunk, Night City, is just one big illusion, is one big beautiful illusion, is one big fun illusion, but it is an illusion. But he responds by saying, it's 2025, no more excuses. We deserve both versions combined. I mean, I won't disagree with that, but anyway. So this guy says, player count doesn't lie. Stop kidding yourself. It needs major changes. And I responded by saying, yes, I'll stop kidding myself. So I will recognize the fact that the Steam count does not represent the true player count. I will also acknowledge the fact that Starfield is the 11th top seller of mods on Nexus Mods, and it is the 11th most downloaded game on the platform. And here I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right here. And as you can see, it is the 11th most top downloaded game on the Nexus platform. So there's no way in the hell that 3,000 people are going to be responsible for that. So yeah, let's please stop kidding ourselves. This individual says the biggest difference is entertainment value. Cyberpunk launched broken as hell, but it still held an amazing world. Good story, enjoyable characters, good writing most of the time, and a decent gameplay loop. When Starfield launched, it wasn't broken, it was just super boring. Boring space travel, boring characters, boring main story, boring side quests, etc. I've played through Cyberpunk multiple times, but the thought of starting a new game on Starfield makes me yawn. Okay. All right. And I responded by saying, and some of us absolutely loved everything about Starfield. I've heard people state that many award-winning games were boring, such as Red Dead Redemption, No Man's Sky, Death Stranding, and many others. There's tons of videos out there claiming that these games were boring, but I loved each of them, and that's totally fine. So I posted a video of a side mission up on Starfield, and they got a lot of positive comments and positive reactions, but this guy said something to me that just seemed so picky. One thing that bugs me about this, no matter how many times you go through the Unity, you're forced to play along and get fooled by the bad guy's rules. Now, this particular section of this side mission he's talking about is just a tiny part of it. And I'm like, guys, if you look at the Unity itself, the Unity itself is a marvel. The fact that you can play that game a number of times and you know, the game changes so much, you know, each time you play it, that's absolutely incredible. The fact that it even has a Unity, and you know, I don't know, man. I mean, I maybe this guy liked it so much that maybe he just really wanted that particular part to be different. You know, I don't know, some things about the game are going to be the same. They're not going to change every single thing, because basically if they changed every single thing about the game, basically say for example, if you played it twice and it was different, like you played so a total of 3 times, right? And it was different. Basically what they did, they just gave you 3 completely different video games. So yeah, some things are going to be the same. I mean, like I said, the Unity is a marvel in itself, man. So I mean, come on, to me, you know, I don't know. I don't want to be too hard on this guy. Apparently, you know, he loves the game. He said no matter how many times you play through Unity. So he's played through Unity a number of times, but I just think it's being a bit picky. You know, you liked it enough the way you played through it multiple times. So this one thing is just, you know, to me, I don't know, man. I just read this and like I said, this isn't that bad, but I was just like, wow, guy, aren't you just being a little bit picky? So I posted a short of a space battle in Starfield, and this guy says, I guess physics went out the window. And I responded by saying, as in all the space games and others that I play, suspension of disbelief. Yeah, people kill me when they make comments like this. I mean, yeah, it's a video game, man. The fact that, you know, we're traveling to all these different planets and these different systems and all of that is ridiculous. The fact that we're carrying all of this stuff that we can just magically pop from out of nowhere. We're carrying all this food, all these guns, all these mods, you know, and all this, you know, watches, necklaces, things like that. I mean, come on, man, just come on. I mean, the fact that we're getting in shootouts on spaceships. In space, we got these powerful weapons, and we're getting into shootouts in space. Come on, guy. You know, come on. I mean, it like I said, it's video games. In the industry and in the movie industry, they call it the suspension of disbelief. Come on, catch up, get with it. I mean, if you and I were playing video games in the same room, but you were playing, let's say, Grand Theft Auto, and I'm playing No Man's Sky, and you got in a car in Grand Theft Auto to go a couple of blocks to go to a building, I could be in my spaceship in a planet's orbit, and I could break the atmosphere and I could land on the surface of that planet from space about as quick, maybe quicker, than you can get in a car in Grand Theft Auto and drive a couple of blocks. So come on, man. So let's just stop it with the madness, okay? Okay, guys, that's it. I'd actually saved some more, but man, the more I read them, they're not even worth reading. They were just just really ridiculous. So yeah, that's it. I thought maybe that would be fun to kind of, you know, take a look at some of these comments. And some of them are, you know, they seem to be coming from an earnest place. Like I said, it's totally okay if you don't like Starfield. That's totally cool, man. And you guys probably like games that I don't like. That's the beautiful thing about video games. They make games for all types of gamers, and that's great. I'm glad that they do. Even genres of games that I don't like, I'm glad they make them for the people who like them. And yeah, man, so that's it, guys. Look, thanks a lot for watching the video, and if you are not subscribed, please get subscribed and like the video and tell me what you think down in the comment section. And like I said, the only thing I ask is that people be disrespectful. I mean, no, let me change that. Don't be disrespectful. What am I thinking? But anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, just, you know, keep it cool. And yeah, man, I don't care about people disagreeing with me or whatever, you know, I don't care, man. You can put a bunch of laugh emojis down in the comment section laughing at me, calling me a clown. Look, that's totally cool, man. I don't care. But one thing I will not tolerate is people coming in here harassing other people who are commenting on the channel, because that is the one thing that will definitely get you blocked from the channel. But anyway, guys, until next time, stay safe.